Welcome to seventh grade math.
Jackie walks at a rate of 4 miles per hour. The situation can be represented by the equation d equals 4t, where d equals distance in miles, and t is the time in hours. The number of miles is proportional to the number of hours because the ratios are equal. And let's vary the situation a little. Suppose Jackie wants to walk 12 miles each day at varying speeds. How long will it take her to walk 12 miles? The answer depends on how fast she walks. So activity in step 1, copy and complete the table for the equation 12 equals RT. So we have 12 miles at 1 miles per hour is going to be 12 hours. 12 miles at 1.5 miles per hour is going to be 8 miles. 12 miles at 2 miles per hour is going to be 6 hours. So we need to find T for 2.5 miles per hour. D equals R times T, or distance equals rate times time. We'll plug in what we do know. We know the distance is 12 miles, and we know the rate is 2.5 miles per hour. So in order to find the time, we'll divide 2.5 from both sides, and we get 4.8 equals T. So we'll plug in 4.8 into the table, and now we'll do the same thing for 3 miles per hour. So D equals RT, plug in what we know, which is distance and rate. So 12 equals 3T. We'll divide 3 out of both sides so we get time by itself. So once we do that, we get 4 equals T, and we'll plug that into the table. If we find T for 3.5 miles per hour, or time, we have distance equals rate times time. 12 equals 3.5 times time. We'll divide 3.5 from both sides to isolate time by itself, and we get 3.4 equals T, or time. We'll plug that into the table. Finally, we'll find T for 4. Distance equals rate times time, so 12 equals 4 times time. 12 over 4 equals 4t over 4, and we get time equals 3 if she walks at 4 miles per hour. So, step 2, complete the graph for the ordered pairs from step 1. So we have our graph, and we're going to plot out hours, which is about 4.8, and that would be 2.5. And then if we look at 4 hours is 3 miles per hour. And then we have the next one is 3.4 and 3.5, and then we have 3 and 4. Analyze the results. Is the time proportional to the rate? Explain why or why not. And no, the slower Jackie walks, the more time it takes for her to walk each mile. When the product of two variables is a constant, the relationship forms an inverse proportion. Which situation is an inverse proportion? Jackie walking at 4 miles per hour or walking 12 miles at varying rates? Identify the constants in each situation. So Jackie walking at varying rates is the inverse proportion. Constant 12 miles. When Jackie walks at 4 miles per hour, the constant is the 4 miles per hour. Mr. Anwar agrees to pay Rob a flat fee of $240 to do some yard work. Mr. Sloan agrees to pay Rob's brother $10 per hour to do some yard work. Make a table of ordered pairs and a graph for each situation, then decide whether each relationship is a proportion or inverse proportion. So Mr. Anwar's rate, here's our table. 1 hour is $240. 2 hours would be $120 an hour. 3 hours would be $80 an hour. And 4 hours would be $60 an hour. So if we were to graph that, he would be making less money per hour the more hours that he works. So that is an inverse proportion. If we look at Mr. Sloan's rate, in 1 hour he'd make $10. In 2 hours he'd make $20. 3 hours he'd make $30. 4 hours he'd make $40. And Mr. Sloan's rate, the more hours he works, the more money he makes. So that is a proportion. Here's your homework for tonight. Please head on over to Google Classroom to submit it. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you in class